I picked up the CampSnap Pro digital camera. It's a toy camera, and I have questions. Is a toy camera actually fun to use? And is it really worth the $100 I just spent? Oh, and what's the one feature that I cannot believe that they included on this toy camera? And is it a gimmick? I picked up the CampSnap Pro very recently, and it's different. It's $100. It's different than the original CampSnap. One is, this is 16 megapixels. Two, they say that they've made the sensor inside a little bit better and the processor a little bit better to handle slightly better aperture and slightly better, there's snowplows outside, slightly better aperture and slightly better shutter so it doesn't blur as much. So you're supposed to be able to get 500 shots on one charge. This has a xenon flash in it now. It's got a rangefinder style. It's kind of cute. Now, the thing is, there is no aperture ring. It looks like one, but that's not a ring. There is no shutter speed. There is nothing on this camera except this dial that I'll tell you about in a little bit. There's not even a back screen so you can watch something. You can't chimp on this like the kids call it. There's really nothing but a shutter button and the magical dial. Before we dive into the whole thing, I do have a quick note. Today's video kicks off a 5-part series that I'm calling the Photography Experiments and Gear Adventures series. So this is number 1 of 5. Look for these graphics and I will make sure that they'll be in a little playlist for you as well. Now I put this thing through some fun tests, and a little bit later on in the video, I will tell you I risked it all to see if this CampSnap Pro toy camera, a camera that is much, much less expensive than you can imagine, I put it to the test of something that even expensive cameras sometimes struggle with. And just to make it a little more fun, I brought along the Leica Q2. And I said, I wonder if this very expensive $6,000 new, $4,400 used full frame camera, how is it going to do up against this $100 toy camera? So premium German design and quality versus $100 toy. And I asked it about low light. So let's start at the start, an unboxing. I will say that I will be surprised because this $99 thing, which costs a little more than a throwaway experience, but less than most cameras, it was nicely packaged. I thought, such as it were. But when I finally put my hands on the camera itself, it's plasticky. I mean, it's super plasticky. Extra lightweight, I guess, but extra plasticky. But that's all right, right? It's a toy. But the question remains, will a $100 toy camera be fun to shoot? And how is it going to compare to the Leica Q2? This camera is 2.2% of the price that it cost me if I wanted to buy this Leica Q2 used. And can it stand toe-to-toe with what I guess you would say is most people's dream camera? I will show you that. But then I was thinking I should probably tell you a little bit about the ways that I evaluate this thing. So it's not, it's not like I put it on a super high bar, but $100 is $100. And really, you're probably wondering the same as me. Did I waste my money on something dumb? So here's how I'm going to evaluate the CampSnap Pro camera. Overall usage, I'm going to tell you about the only 3 things that you can pretty much do or manipulate on the camera. What it felt like to use out in the field. The one trick that this camera actually does have, image quality. And then the last, and probably maybe most important, is it worth the price? And I'll cover that in a bit. All right, so first off, let's take a look at this thing. Let's turn the camera on. So the reason I've been holding the mic the whole time is because I want you to hear a sound. So I want to just show you first out of the gate, there's a power switch and you turn it on. There are little speakery buttons in the back. So I want to show you what happens when you turn this camera on. That's the sound. It's, but the sound, it's a choice. Like that's a file that makes that sound. So there's sound to turning on the camera. It's like, listen to it again. Let me just tell you, I mean, listen to that. And listen to the shutter click sound. This is the sound it makes when you click the shutter. That's the shutter click sound. So that's nutty, right? Like, to me, the thing is, electric cars have to make a sound, right? Like, they put sounds into electric cars because they were running over all of us idiots, like looking at our cell phones as we're walking along. But, Harley Davidson had to patent their sound so that their e-bikes could make that rah, rah sound that Harley Davidsons make. And this is what these guys went with. This is Camp Snap said, okay, here we go. Let's get a cool audio to go with our thing. Okay, so this thing, you have the power on button. You've got I have to wait for it to power on. It takes a little time. It was like, I don't know, 3 seconds. You have the shoot the photo. You have the button to take a photo. I don't have an aperture dial. I don't have a thing to change the shutter speed. I have take the photo and don't take the photo. And I have this little mystery dial that I'll tell you about later. Oh, and there's a battery thing on the bottom, which it's not, you can't like pull out batteries or anything like that, but instead, it's where your SD card goes. There's a micro SD card in there. And I think they give you just a really tiny one, it's not terrible. You could do 500 shots on it. There's also buttons that say mode up and down that I honestly don't even know what they do because I didn't look at it yet. And it came with like this little screw that was holding that all in place, which I immediately lost the minute I unscrewed it. And there's a little baby USB-C port on the bottom. That is how you get your files on and off of the device. You don't get to look at them until you pull them off of the device. It does have one magic feature, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but that's what I got. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the field experience. I have to say, I've never felt more like Chris Nickel from Petapixel than coming out here into the field, especially because it is snowing today. Lightly, but it's snowing. But I'm going to set you up somewhere, and we'll talk a little bit about the field experience, because here's the field. I'm not in Alberta or anything. I'm in Massachusetts. But all the factory buildings, this is where I live. So here we go. The thing about the whole setup, and I don't like the lighting. The thing about the whole setup is that there's no denying it's plasticky. It's a plastic camera. It is a very light plastic camera. And what we get is that feeling of cheap, right? Because our brains are wired to say if it's light, it's cheap. This is very light. This is lighter than a thing this size you would expect. Because, it's the reasonable camera size. I have sort of smallish hands, but it's a reasonable camera size. But it feels light. Now, I guess if we're optimistic, I can say that's great, because sometimes carrying around heavy camera gear is going to be a little too much. Some of the camera gear I'm going to show you in the next video in this series is very heavy. It's the opposite of this thing. But how did it work? It's great. It's on. You just aim at stuff and you're shooting. That's all you can do. You can't review anything. You push the button, you shoot, you have done the thing. That's all it does. And I like that. I like the meditative quality of the fact that you just shoot it and it's done. So let's go back inside. That was enough field test, right? A little bit of snowflakes behind us. My Santa hat. I mean, look, I'm practically Santa now. Okay, I held off on the one cool thing this camera does that people pay thousands of dollars for in other cameras, but you can get this at this $100 camera. And I use old Kermie back there as my model, and I think Ganesh. But you know what this thing does at $100 that you might have to pay $1,000 to get if you want to buy a Fujifilm? Film simulations. That little circle right there, that gives you 4 built-in film simulations. Well, standard plus 3 sims. It's got standard, it's got vintage 1, it has vintage 2, and it has black and white. Standard is exactly what you think. It's what you see when you look out the camera. We'll take a look at that. Standard is fine. Vintage 1 looks great. It's a little warm. It's nice. It's cozy. It's kind of the thing you think about when you are looking at a camera like this. Vintage 2 is weirdly green. So the Matrix, I guess. Film simulations are interesting, aren't they? The last one's black and white. It's pretty passable monochrome. It's not knock your socks off. It's not crazy. Now, the thing is, and I need to explain this, they do have ways in the old Camp Snap, the primary Camp Snap, not the Pro, to edit film sims and pass them around and stuff like that. And there's a whole thriving community of that. But I will say I haven't seen as much of it for the Camp Snap Pro, but I am so not used to it. I think you could do it. I just don't know. But are the film simulations a gimmick? Kinda. But you know what I thought was the perfect use case? It's snowy out today. It's bleak. The sun is awful. And there's lots of times when you're in awful midday sun. You know what turns around awful midday sun? Black and white. So if you switch this baby to black and white, you might have one good reason also to use your Camp Snap camera on days that are a little more dreary. And again, if there's a way I can convince you to get out and shoot, that's the point. Photography is meditation, baby. Low light photography is fun. Getting that glow of a street light or capturing some neon signs, that can be so much fun. And let's not forget what it's like when you slow the shutter speed down and make fun lines with car lights. Oh, well, the Camp Snap Pro can't do that. And let's be honest, this is, a lot of cameras have trouble shooting at night, right? So before I show you some of the pics, I do want to say that with no camera back, I have no idea how these came out. You and I are going to be reviewing them at the same time. But I also think, I took some of these comparative shots with the Leica Q2, and we're going to see how it comes. Now, is it fair to compare a $100 toy camera with the absolute wonder of German precision and value of the Leica Q2? 2.2% of the price of that? This is YouTube, baby. Nothing is fair. When did I start saying baby? Okay, this first photo, I almost got run over taking it. I was standing in the middle of the road in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I figured it's really early in the morning. No one's going to be around. And then a really fast car thought the same thing and turned the corner on me, and we almost got to know each other real close. So here's what the Leica did. And now let's look at the Camp Snap Pro. Remember, by the way, that the Leica has 47.3 megapixels. Camp Snap Pro has 16, but you're viewing these on YouTube. So, compression's a problem. But speaking of YouTube, while we're taking a look at these, my stats say that 50% of you are still watching these on your mobile device. That's crazy. So many more people are starting to watch YouTube on their TVs or at least their laptops, but you're watching it on your mobile device? By the way, one last stat, 89% of you you are not subscribed. Please press the button, please. Okay, so we'll take a look through the rest of these photos. And again, it's not, this is apples to Leicas. So there's this photo. I think that getting these kinds of shots is fun because we get to see what's out there. Now, this all leads to pretty much the most important point, the one that I led out the video with. Is this toy actually worth $100? We looked at the build quality. It's cheap, but it's not terrible. We talked about field handling. It's light, which is good. We talked about the one cool feature that it has, which is the image thing where you can make all kinds of cool banger shots for your Instagram. What surprised me, I think it did better in low light than I thought it was going to. But then what does this mean for you? Should you spend $100 for a toy camera? The answer is maybe. On the one hand, I think it's fun. I think you could do a lot of fun things with it. But the regular Camp Snap camera, this is the Pro. The regular Camp Snap camera is $69. It's half the megapixels. It looks even more toy-like. But that to me is almost like the uncanny valley problem. This looks like a professional camera. It's got the word Pro in it. But when you compare it to something that is Pro, that is made out of metal, that does have all the skills and everything, you think to yourself, well, maybe I'll just use that because I have it. Like, what's the use case for a $100 toy camera? And if you're doing $100, you're not that far close off of buying like what used to be a flagship DSLR a bunch of years ago. That's the next video I'm going to make in this series, is about the Nikon D700. That's a world-class flagship for just a few $100 more. So where do I end up with all of this? I'm not entirely sold on whether you need a $100 Camp Snap Pro camera. You can have one, But you could buy the regular Camp Snap for $69. You could get this, which is the little Chuzhou little TLR, like two lens kind of camera. It's a cute little toy camera that costs less. It costs between like 30 and 50 bucks. Or you can buy a real old timey DSLR camera that used to cost 3,000 bucks when it came out in 2008, but now is only 300 bucks. But I liked the camera. It was fun enough. I think I'll do with mine is I'll take it to events and parties and I'll pass it around and I'll say, hey, shoot this camera, shoot this for some fun snaps. Unz, 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 unz. Yeah, how are you liking the party? Oh, it's a fun. Oh, stay put. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're having a good party now. I don't know why I put up a fake German accent. The flash. It's got a xenon flash. This could be kind of a fun one to take to parties because you could make some fun with it. You can use the cool flash feature. You can pass it around. You could be adventure. I don't go to parties. Can you tell? I don't want to, make fun of myself, but I don't. But that's fun. And so maybe that's the use case. Maybe that's why you buy the $100 Camp Snap Pro. And maybe you think to yourself, oh, this is just everything I need it to be. This, as I told you, is part of a series. We're going to do photography experiments and gear adventures. Look at this. The Nikon D700. Look how huge it is. Or Nikon for most of the rest of the world that's not Americans, because we are why you can't have nice things. We're going to do the D700. So I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it'll be fun. This thing is so heavy. The Camp Snap, I could hang the Camp Snap off of this and not know it was there compared to the Nikon. That's what we're going to do next. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being part of this. As you know, Chris at chrisbrogame.com. Always, 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 always send me email. I love it. And remember, be good to yourself.